Happy 4th of July, everybody. This is the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to talk to you about X-Men Evolution Season 2 Project Rebirth. Now, X-Men Evolution is something I haven't really talked about that much. I briefly talked about it. I did record some audio last year for it to do a rundown review on the entire series, but the problem is I haven't done none of the templates yet, and there's a bunch of pictures. So once I get that done, then I'll be putting that up one day. But X-Men Evolution was awesome. It's the second best X-Men cartoon. And it's more emotional, more character driven, and it changes the landscape of instead of adults, they're teenagers now. And it was one of those series that really makes you now know what it's like to be a teenager that have mutant powers. I never got that before with the other X-Men series because Jubilee, even though she was a teenager, she looked like an adult and everything. And so I just never felt that way and she was also around that height. And with this, they're actually short. So this is another Captain America episode during the war. And it's much different than the other one from the other X-Men cartoon series. So this starts off with Wolverine on his motorcycle. He's being pursued by a helicopter and stuff. And so we don't know who's chasing him. And then he's also being pursued by land vehicles. And it's who is chasing at them? But it's a cool chase sequence. It turns out it's Shield and none other than Nick Fury himself, the old version, the one that's white with gray hair and stuff. And well, the older version actually had gray and brown hair, but this one has full-on gray hair. And he's voiced by the dude who played the Watcher in Highlander series, Jim and everything. I think it's Jim Barnes, I think his name is. I can't remember. But he does a great Nick Fury voice, and I like this version. He's tough, he's arrogant, he's he gets on Wolverine them nerves and stuff. But it turns out Wolverine used to be a Shield agent, and he's pissed because he's all I don't work for Shield no more. Leave me alone and stuff. And I like this version of Wolverine. He has his ultimate comic book hairstyle, and it's very blue. And he has a great sounding voice, and his claws are pretty cool. They try to mimic his claws after Hugh Jackman claws, but they change throughout the entire series. They always have a different design to them. And so he tells them that Project Rebirth was never destroyed. The original one was destroyed, but they Hydra created a second one. And so he's pissed because he knows what the first one did to a friend of his, Captain America. And so Fury shows him some pictures of this vault where Project Rebirth was held. And whoever did it was able to rip apart the most strongest, or the second strongest metal, or maybe the third strongest metal in Marvel comics and stuff. And there was some type of magnetic pulse that took out their stuff. Of course, it's Magneto. So he tells Charles Xavier, and Charles is very shocked to find out Wolverine is that old, dating back from the war. And so they're trying to figure out, where is Magneto. So they use Cerebro, and Wolverine can't imagine that there are this many mutants in the world and stuff. Well, Nightcrawler and Rogue, they are spying on Wolverine. See, they had a bit of a kerfuffle at school. See, one thing about this series that we see a lot of high school drama stuff, which is weird because this is a cartoon. So Nightcrawler and Rogue, they're at school, and then there's a bully messing with Rogue, and he grabs Nightcrawler by the watch, and it messes up his mobile emitter image thing. And the dude is shocked to see that Kurt is a mutant, a blue skinned fuzzy one with a tail and everything. And so he's scared and backing up, and then Jean uses her powers to wipe his mind and everything. And so that's basically all we see of those X-Men, but we do see Rogue, and we see Nightcrawler and Cerebro talking to Charles and Logan, and Rogue is all like, when she touched Magneto a week ago, she had a bunch of images in her head, and one's in the Sahara Desert, like a giant metal dome. So Wolverine's reluctant to take her and Nightcrawler, but Charles think it'd be best because she knows where the location's at, and also Nightcrawler can teleport inside. Because the only way to get it open is magnetism. And so like they head out there, and he tells them the story of the first rebirth chamber. He talks about how he was part of like the Canadian Special Forces, and that they encountered Captain America. I think they was rescued by him, and so they bond because of that. And so Captain America and Wolverine, some other soldiers, they free a bunch of Jewish people from like a camp. And as they're running and everything, Captain America is holding on to a little boy. The little boy sees a bomb being thrown in the air, and he uses his powers of magnetism to blow up the bomb. Of course, there's really only one mutant who will be that old and everything, but not that old. You know what I'm saying? And it's Magneto. And so he asks the boy, "What's your name?" And he tells him Eric Lyncher and stuff. And so of course it's Magneto. So he's telling the story of that and some other stuff. Now, I don't like Captain America, the way he's drawn in this. A lot of the men are drawn very weird and bulky and stuff, and they have these broad, huge noses, and I just don't like that. Well, anyways, they find the oh wait, so Captain America, it turns out he's dying and everything. His cells are deteriorating. Because it seems that when a human uses Project Rebirth, it damages their body, but if a mutant uses it, it's okay. This is very unique and different. I've never heard of a Captain America story like this. And so, like, in the present day, they find the metal chamber, they go, like, inside, and Sabretooth is there. So him and Wolverine fight, because in the last season, he was working for that doctor who put the adamantium inside Logan's skeleton. So they're all fighting and everything. And it's a brief but kind of cool fight scene. That's one thing about this series, is that fights never really last that long. And so Magneto is in the chamber, and it's activated, and Kirk has the bomb and he's about to set it off, but Magneto tells him he needs this chamber to survive and live. So Nightcrawler hesitates, which pisses off the rest of the team, as they're now being trapped underneath pieces of metal. So we then see a extremely old Magneto turn young again. And so Wolverine gets free, and he sets off the bomb, and it explodes. Because Magneto was kind of like, still dazed inside the machine. When he wakes up, he is furious and everything. But he spares their life. He tells Nightcrawler, you saved me, so I'm going to spare your life. And when it comes to Wolverine, he's all like, you once saved a little boy many years ago, like 50 years ago and everything. And Wolverine just smiles. So he knows that little boy was him. See, Wolverine's always known Magneto and everything, but he's never let nobody know how he knew him and stuff. And so, like, as they're all leaving and everything, we see in the end credits towards the end, like Wolverine, he's in S.H.I.E.L.D. and Fury's there, and we see Captain America frozen. And we see a very sad Wolverine over the ice chamber talking to Cap. Talking about, he's still alive, fighting the good fight, and we're gonna find a cure for you. And it's like one of the most vulnerable scenes I've ever seen Wolverine be in. And it's so touching. Like, he lost one of his best friends and everything, and he'll never be able to see him again. And he just hopes one day they'll make a cure. Now this, like I said before, is very different from what I've ever known Captain America. I've seen different versions. I've seen him be on ice after taking out a nuke. I've seen him be on ice after an explosion on the Red Skull's plane. I've seen him in a parallel pocket dimension with the Red Skrull fighting him in that Spider-Man cartoon. But I've never seen him like this before. Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.